Good trader looks at the bullish and the bearish case. The bullish case is, needless to say, maybe this triggers. The bullish case is we're still in a channel pattern that is still a bullish channel following this big up move. It's basically a flag pattern.
Wait a minute, everyone. Welcome to Bitcoin Zella, your platform for daily cryptocurrency analysis and news. Our mission is to keep it simple. Bitcoin Zella offers engaging information that is easy to understand. Our analysts keep their eyes on the latest news to provide valuable insights via email. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Join our community of 10,000 subscribers and experience the new edge with Bitcoin Zella. Subscribe now. Gareth will share his insights on Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, gold, and 10 years yield chart. Let's join Gareth in this interview about these topics and more.
Let's rock and roll real quick. We have Bitcoin that we're going to go over real quick here. So number one, Bitcoin is pulling back a little bit today. In all fairness, doesn't really change much of what I've said here in the previous kind of videos. So just be aware of that. One of the things to keep in mind, we still have that inverse head and shoulders. As of now, it is still intact. So again, that is still something that I'm paying attention to. But please remember, and this is so important, it has not triggered yet. As long as it's untriggered, to be honest, it's just something you're watching. It doesn't mean that you should be even more bullish on the chart here. So please understand that is that once it triggers, yes, then the probabilities start favoring that upside move to the upper end of the range right up here, but not until then. On the inverse side, and a good trader looks at the bullish and the bearish case. The bullish case is, needless to say, maybe this triggers. The bullish case is we're still in a channel pattern that is still a bullish channel following this big up move. It's basically a flag pattern. Here's your flag pole. Here's your flag. So those are the bullish sides. But the bearish side would be if we ever trade below here. So you trade below right now. Looks like that line's around 57,000. Then Bitcoin gets in trouble. That's where Bitcoin probably goes down to about 52 to 49,000. But right now, you do, if you have to probabilityize it, if that's even a word, you're basically looking at a probability of probably about a 60% bullish to 40% bearish, maybe even 65% bullish on the chart. You break above here, it probably jumps to 80% bullish. You break below and confirm here, it probably jumps to about 75% bearish. So again, the levels to watch, know your levels, know your probabilities, and then you can decide, is there a trade here for me? Right now, to be honest, there's not much of a trade, maybe a slight long bias, as I've said. Ethereum is of concern to me. So I went over this yesterday, but I need to go over it again, guys, because you continue to hammer on this trend line right here. And my concern is this, is that the door analogy that we talk about is that the more you hammer on that door, the weaker the door becomes. Well, you've now hammered on this trend line more and more times, and a lot of times, almost every candle for the last 4 or 5 days has been hammering on this support. So if this line breaks, and this is, remember, Bitcoin had that lower line, but we're not on it, right? We're not at the lower line of the channel. Here on Ethereum, we are, and that is a concern. So it hasn't broken yet, but right now, you'd rate this as a neutral chart because of how many times it's hit on that level. And should it break, you're likely headed to 2650, 2400, and then close to 2100. Those would be your 3 supports. And listen, the first one could hold and maybe it rallies off of that. We don't know, but those are your levels to the downside. All right, quickly just going over, we'll do one more crypto today. Let's do Solana. I haven't looked at this in a little while, so let's take a gander. Let me just draw a couple trend lines here. If we draw this trend line, so this is really the line we're watching, right? So on Solana, we have a trend line here that is much the same as Ethereum, right? You have this one that goes back to October of 2023. It hit. It even pierced briefly, but didn't confirm. Remember the confirmation signal, guys. It didn't confirm that a breakdown occurred, and it rallied back up, and then it hit a couple here. So as long as you're holding this line, basically you have a scenario where you have a little bit of a down-sloping trend line, little wedge pattern forming here, right? So at some point, it's either going to break out or it's going to break down. Now, which way is it going to go? To be honest, I don't even know that. I don't even have a high probability on that. I do favor the downside a little on Solana because I still think that overall there's a lot of meme and scam coins that have been brought out, and I do think that as those get flushed out, it may bring Solana down just a little bit. But again, overall, just watch the charts. That's the beauty of it. You break here, then and you confirm, you probably are headed down to about $100 or so on the chart. Going into gold real quick here, guys, as we look at gold. Gold is having a small bounce, minimal price action on gold at this point. everyone's just waiting on the CPI data tomorrow. Even today's action, we know that the PPI data didn't have much impact, maybe a slight negative bias to the markets. But today, a little bit of a move up on gold after a down move yesterday. Remember, this is your line down here, right? So this one right here, as I'm drawing it as well as I can, if you break below this, you're likely headed to 2,200. As long as you hold here, you may test your topping tail double top. And again, you can almost see it's starting to form a wedge pattern in here that eventually we'll have to make a decision on that one. I still favor mid to long term. I'm a huge bull on gold. Shorter term, I'm kind of mixed on it just based on the price action.
Jim Cramer, the CNBC host, has expressed concerns about investing in MicroStrategy due to its heavy reliance on Bitcoin. He suggests that investing directly in Bitcoin might be a safer bet. Cramer warns that MicroStrategy's stock is too closely tied to Bitcoin's unpredictable prices. Despite outperforming Bitcoin, MicroStrategy's stock may not be the best indirect investment in cryptocurrencies. Analysts at TD Cowen are bullish on MicroStrategy, but Ethereum ETF rejections could impact its growth. The company's losses, excluding Bitcoin, could affect its index listing chances. Bitcoin remains a strong investment, with its price stability and trading volume indicating sustained appeal. The on-chain analytics firm Glassnode has released a new report detailing the contrasting performance of Bitcoin and Ethereum during the 2023-24 cycle. The report highlights Bitcoin's resilience and Ethereum's comparative lag in speculative interest and price performance.
You would think that, okay, hotter inflation, right? You would think, okay, that's going to make yields go up. Well, it did initially. Look at this pre-market move on the 10-year yield, and then it came right back in. The stock market initially dove, and then it came right back up. So, again, the reason why, why is the market ignoring this? To be honest, I think it's because the market is saying, as of now, CPI, the inflation on the consumer side that we get tomorrow, is much more important. They're kind of writing off the producer inflation, which is what we saw today. So the yields pushed up to about 4.535%. We're right back to 4.485%. The U.S. dollar, same thing, initially had a big spike higher, as you can see on this chart. If we zoom in a little bit more, big pop in the dollar initially, and then look, the dollar's actually lower than where it was pre. Now remember, the markets go inversely to yields and the U.S. dollar. So when the U.S. dollar spikes or yields spike, the markets go down. When yields pulled back here, what do you guys think the markets did? So yields had rallied up here, and then they pulled back. The markets rallied right back.
The CEOs of Tether and Ripple, Paolo Ardoino and Brad Garlinghouse, engage in a public debate over the stablecoin USDT amidst increasing regulatory attention. Arduino defends USDT against Garlinghouse's claims, underscoring Tether's efforts to serve the unbanked and its commitment to transparency. Garlinghouse explains his position, indicating that his observations were about regulatory scrutiny, not an attack on Tether. The conversation between the two CEOs sheds light on the challenges stablecoin issuers face with regulators, particularly in the U.S., where there is a push for more oversight. Russian officials propose fines and legal changes to curb residential crypto mining due to its impact on power supplies. To prevent unauthorized use of electricity and reduce power outages, residential miners may face significant penalties. Adjustments to the administrative code will hold individuals accountable for misusing power for mining. While Romanchuk calls for strict measures against illegal mining, Bezdelov advocates for a supportive environment for legitimate mining operations. Officials aim to create a regulatory framework that allows for innovation in crypto mining while ensuring responsible energy usage. Following the awakening of numerous dormant bitcoins in March, April was rather uneventful, with just 72 transfers from idle wallets dating between 2010 and 2017. To date, May has seen 32 transfers from vintage wallets, moving about 1,181 more Bitcoin in the past 2 weeks than during the whole month of April. If you've been with us so far, a big thank you. Don't forget to subscribe for free to Bitcoin Zella for your daily news. The link is waiting below. That's all for today's crypto news. Stick around for more updates, insights, and analysis on cryptocurrencies. Share your thoughts in the comments, like this video, and subscribe for more exciting content.